Welcome back, everyone. Tomorrow marks 18 years since the nation looked on with horror as the Twin Towers fell to the ground. For many, September 11th is a day to reflect on one of America's worst tragedies. Although the attacks don't seem like too long ago for some of us, there are now high school students who were not even born when those tragic events unfolded. Our Cash Matlock spoke with area educators on how they bridged the gap.
Craig Piper is a social studies teacher at Starkville High School. He's been teaching history for almost 15 years now and says he always touches on the topic of 9/11. However, he's recently been faced with the challenge of explaining the historical event to students who were born after the fact.
I always try to personalize the moment so kids can relate to the history. And so what I will do with 9/11 is talk about how things are kind of going a certain way, and then one day it's just totally disruptive.
Unlike other chapters like World War II or the Lincoln assassination, Piper lived through 9/11 and remembers it vividly.
It's very interesting because you take it for granted when you've lived it that you assume that everybody else has lived it too and kind of understands it, and they don't.
Sally Stafford is a junior at Starkville High School, which means she was born in 2003, just 2 years after the attacks. The only record she has of September 11th comes from her history books.
I think of the terrorist attacks and the Twin Towers and just kind of like the after effect of it. School programs kind of never forget, I guess.
But when it comes time to study, Stafford says she has a few other credible sources she looks to.
I have memories of being younger and asking my mom, oh, where were you during 9/11? And I feel like I have a good understanding of it from my parents and my educators.
Piper says it's important for today's youth to know the effects of such a huge tragedy.
To these kids, you know, when you go to the airport, for example, the total searches and everything else, that's normal. But before 9/11, it wasn't normal. It was like people could walk with you to the plane and see you off on the plane. They could go on the plane with you, as a matter of fact.
And it's only a matter of time before today's students have a story of their own to tell.
You know, when you're young, and we were all like this, we kind of think, well, this kind of stuff will never happen. It's going to happen. I mean, their lives, we hope it's going to be something that's joyous, will be transformed by some kind of historical event.
Cash Matlock, WCBI News.
And it was at 8:46 a.m. on September 11th that the first plane struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center.